We got this guy all the way from Nanaimo. He's going back. So give him a lot of love, because this will probably be the only time you ever see him.
Who's 32?
There you go.
Oh, you're so honest. Let's see. Good?
I can see it. It's the only thing I can see is just like the hesitant.
Everything in this sticky like I probably do all the time. Now I'm gonna give you a shot.
Whatever. Who cares? I get paid either way.
I blame it on the stickiness every time, even if it's
I get paid to show up early and fucking wonder if anybody's gonna show up. That's what I do. Anyway, this guy, I'm excited to see him. I've never seen him before in my life. Just met the guy. Seems all right. Seems fun. He's got an even better name than Wolfgang, which is hard to beat. It is. So give a huge fucking Nanaimo round of applause for Uncle Bill.
How you doing, Saskatoon? I'm Uncle Bill. It was a nickname that I got in high school. I've always just assumed that it's because most of my advice comes after 2 joints of a 6-pack, and with you calling your mom your dad anyways. But more than likely, it's because I dress like I'm trying to identify with today's youth, and probably would be fined outside a liquor store going, "Hey kids, want a boot?" But the one thing that I don't identify with today's youth is their music. I fucking hate Ariana Grande. I would totally fuck her though. And I would not argue with anybody who say that girl could sing. Man, I cannot stand her music. I guess what I'm trying to say is me and Ariana Grande have a very complicated love-hate relationship that only I'm aware of. Which is no different from any other relationship I've been in. I mean, I love them, they hate me, and that makes shit complicated. So my wife gave birth about a few months ago, and I honestly didn't know that she was pregnant until 2 months prior. And they say that you can tell a lot just by looking at a woman. Apparently, if she's going to leave you and have some other guy's baby, is not one of them. I used to have this girlfriend who would like wiggle in her seat, and I'm talking like belly dance as she was sitting there. And at the time, I thought it was the most adorable thing ever, to the point where I guess I developed the habit myself. Because fast forward a week ago, and I was on a date. I started wiggling in my seat. I guess the girl found it kind of amusing because she kind of laughed and looked and went over at me and she's like, "What, is your vagina itchy?" Well, almost immediately I'm like, "Oh my god, my ex-girlfriend had chlamydia." Needless to say, I didn't get day 2 after screaming that in a restaurant. I guess it's a good thing that my dick was so small that I was never actually inside her. It's probably why my wife left me. So after my separation, I started using Tinder. And my favorite thing to see while I'm swiping through Tinder is, must be into tall girls. Because I'm like, well, it must be the short guys. Something that confuses me while I'm swiping through Tinder is that, you know, like when you like swipe through Tinder and you come across that profile with a paragraph as bio, and like right at the end, in the little asterisk, just no hookups. And you just kind of sit there like, honey, you're in the wrong place. Because, girls, let me lay some truth on you. 90% of men on Tinder want you to swallow their cum, call them daddy, and call it a night. And the other 10% are lying to you. For themselves.
That was good.
You know, something I've realized being separated and being on Tinder is that you can't propose women for sex the same way that you propose your wife for sex. I mean, I was on a date, we went back to her place, and we're sitting on her couch watching Netflix. I look over at her and I'm like, I think you should sit on my face. She looks back at me and is like, Bill, I think you should fucking leave. Something else I've realized is that women aren't going to propose to you for sex the same way that your wife proposes to you for sex. Again, I was on a date, went back to her place, I spent the night. The next morning, my buddy Safar calls me and says, "Hey man, did you get her in?" I was like, "No man, she didn't really give me the sign." "You're in her bed, what the fuck's the sign?" I was like, "Well, anytime my ex wanted to do it, she put my dick in her mouth." My friends say that my problem with dating is that I need to lower my standards and I'm too picky. I think my problem is that I can't find a woman who's willing to sleep with me. Well, that's my standards. Woman and willing. If that's too low, sue me, because if I lower them any lower, you're gonna take me to court anyways. So it's my dad's 70th. Want me to give him a round of applause? Unfortunately, I don't have actually a joke about my dad, but what I do have is a joke about my mom, who isn't here. The last time I saw my mom was during Christmas. And it's really weird seeing my mom for Christmas because she always gets me the same thing, a fruitcake. And because no one else in my family likes it. And she always puts the same thing on it. Because you are what you eat. Which confuses me because I can't tell if my mom's telling me that I'm gay or secretly telling me that the rest of the family doesn't like me. What else was that? So, as he said, I'm from Nanaimo. I live with one of my best friends. And it's an interesting phenomenon when two best friends move in together. Because you think you know a guy, but then you really get to know a guy. For example, I didn't know that my buddy Safar sheds like a fucking golden retriever. My buddy Safar didn't know that I like to pass out anywheres but my bed. 50-50 shot on whether my dick is in or out. It got so bad that Safar actually bought one of those closets that you get for grandma so she could get the jam from the top shelf, and hung it on the wall of our living room because, and I quote, "You never want to leave your boy vulnerable, but it's gay to touch another man's dick." So what you want to do is grab the claw off the wall, tuck that bad boy back in there, put the claw back in the wall, and don't talk about it. If my ex-wife paid that much attention to my dick, probably wouldn't be up here right now. Being a divorced man, I get a little bit of entertainment out of my newlywed friends and their so-called fights. For example, I was driving along with Buddy in his car, and I could just tell that he was dragged through the 7 levels of hell. I was like, "Man, what the fuck's going on?" It's like, "Man, I think I just ruined my marriage." I was like, "Oh, why?" It's like, "Well, I got home from work the other day, a little early, the wife wasn't home, I couldn't wait. Long story short, she caught me jerking off in the bathroom." It's like, you guys are newlyweds, aren't you? Trust me, dude, if that's the worst thing she's gonna find you doing, try sleeping with her sister. That's what ended my marriage. Well, I think that's all really I got for you tonight. Sorry. But I'm Uncle Bill. You guys are great. I remember, kids, if she isn't good enough to eat, don't give her your meat. Go home and beat.
Good one.
Uncle Bill, everybody! Uncle fucking Bill, what a name. Shit. We still have 8 minutes. I'm contractually obligated to fucking stand up here for 8 minutes. Shit, he was talking about jerking off a lot. I actually don't like fucking telling jokes after the last comedian, but really I gotta fill some time. I gotta earn this money at some point, right? That's just putting anybody